Okay, so we're back. We're back, and we have this now recorded for our top investments for 2024. And as we started here, we talked about the S&P 500 companies as far as the needed to know information for tonight. Now we're talking about the market yearly returns in the S&P 500. Guys, the year I was born right here in 1982 to right here in 2022, if you look at the years right here where it's in red, that's the amount of years where the S&P or the stock market was down. If I count right here from 1982 when I was born, it was up 20.4%. But let's count the years it was down since I've been born. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 out of the last 40 years, the US stock market has only been down. This is why I try to get you guys to say, hey, look, we have to look at it from a long-term view. All right. Now, I want to talk about this right here. $100 in the S&P 500, right? What it will be worth today. So we invested in all these companies right here, right? Back in 1950. What would that be worth today? And we're going to look at 11 sectors that belong into this. All right. So I want to go right up over here and let's just share here some good information here. And this one slide right here, or this next site, but I'm about to show you here, you guys, I'm gonna put this right here in the chat, but it's gonna blow your mind here when I show you this information here. So let me just get right up over here and show you this right here. All right, let me go back and share my screen. All right, so check this out, guys. This is some good information here. So when we talk about the S&P 500, right? If you look at this right here, $100 in the S&P 500 index, starting from 1950 to 2023, look at this right here. This same $100. This is the reason why I get you guys to invest. The same $100 today will be worth $262,000 here. Now, with this website here, you can start at any year. So if I go right here and put in 1982, right? I put in from 1982 to 2023 and I hit calculate. Look at this right here. This same $100 and not put no more into it, put nothing more into it, will be worth $10,346 here. All right. This website here gives us a grand view and it looks here, right? So you think about this here from 1982, the stock market or the S&P 500 has been up 10,246% since I've been born. This is one of the main reasons why I have you guys investing, because when you start looking at these numbers right here, it gets pretty big. All right. So when we talk about the S&P 500, it looks at 11 different sectors. And so when it has 11 different sectors, let's look at this here really quick, because this is going to be very important when I start telling you about the top stocks, the top index funds to own for 2024. So when we go and look at this right here, the S&P 500 index, right? Here's how I want you guys to paint this picture right here. All right. The S&P 500 index has 11 different sectors. When I talk about these 11 different sectors, I'm talking about these different sectors right here. Services, financials, which is bank, healthcare, materials, technology. It's 11 different sectors. So look at this right here. This is the mother. My mom is on the call here. So look at the S&P 500 as the mother. And now the mother has 11 different kids. All right. These 11 different kids right here. Now we look over this different time span. When I go right here and I hit year to date. So year to date means from January 1st to whatever day that we're currently at during the year. And you look at this mother right here, and you look at the S&P 500 index, and we look at these 11 kids right here. So out of these 11 kids right here, which kid is performing the best? All right. So we start going over here and we look, oh, technology. Technology is up 55%. All right. What's the second best performing kid? We go over here and we look at communication services. Oh, communication services, right? Now, when I go right here and I hit this drop down for communication services, guess what it's going to do? It's going to give me all of these companies here that fall under communication services. Look at this right here. Meta Platforms. You guys may not be familiar with that, but that's Facebook now. It changed the name. You look at Netflix, right? Netflix is up 66%. You look at Facebook is up 197%. Like all of these companies right here are straight balling. You go right here and look at Alphabet. This is Google. It's up 58%. It belongs under this communication services here. All right. Now, when we go back over here and we look at the technology industry, right? Technology is up 55%. Well, let's go and look and see what's in technology. You're going to look at AMD. That's a chip stock. It's up 129%. But guys, look at this one right here. Ooh, look at this one. And this is going to be one of the main subjects that we talk about tonight, NVIDIA. Now, you guys know I've been talking about NVIDIA for the last 3 years. All right. NVIDIA, been talking about NVIDIA for the last 3 years. But look at this right here. Specifically this year, NVIDIA is up 238%. Now, let me show you guys this really quick, right? Let's talk about this really quick. NVIDIA, all right? The reason why NVIDIA is up so big this year is because of artificial intelligence. Now, you guys are starting to see everything around you, evolving around you, is starting to deal with artificial intelligence. And the reason why NVIDIA is so big with artificial intelligence is because it's the computer chips that's behind the artificial intelligence, all right? Now, if you rocking with me and all of y'all rocking with me, you should have NVIDIA part of your portfolio, all right? And if you look at NVIDIA in your portfolio, it's one of the biggest returning assets that has the biggest gains inside of your portfolio. And so as we go into 2024, NVIDIA is also going to be a stock to own to continue to carry on to 2024. All right. It's a stock that's a must own stock. Now, I've been sharing with you guys how to go and buy fraction shares weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly through Fidelity website as well. What I want you to do is consistently buy NVIDIA every single month because it's just now starting with AI and artificial intelligence. All right. That's one stock that you want to continue to keep owning for 2024. All right. Now, when we go back over here and we look, and this is all technology here, all right? Broadcom, AVGO, Broadcom, also 101%. It's been on a rapid tour these last 2 months, all right? So this is what I want to share here with you with the S&P 500. It's your top 500 companies, all right? And it's spread across those 11 different sectors, all right? So here's your top 500 companies in the S&P 500. Here's how the S&P 500 has been performing since the early 1928s, all right? Now, let's talk about this right here, this chart right here. This is a review of 2023 of the S&P 500 where we talk about the stock market. Now, guys, a lot of y'all been excited because you look right here in November, and I put this little mark right here. You see this little mark right here? You see how that stock market just been rising sharply since November? I'm gonna tell you the reason why it's rising sharply since November right here. And I've been telling people, they've been shooting me text messages and they say, "Oh, sure, when this thing look good." Now, this is one of the main reasons why we advocate for investing, because now you're starting to see your dollars really working for you. If you look right here, right before this right here happened, the Federal Reserve, they said that now that inflation is actually coming down now. Now, that don't not necessarily mean that prices are coming down. That means that the price of goods and services is not going up as fast as it was last year. So they saw that inflation is coming down, and that means that, hey, they said that they're going to cut interest rates next year for 2024. And once they made that announcement, this is why you see a peak right here in November through December. The stock market for 2023 from November to December, out of this 24.5% for the overall year, 14% of it is up from November to December. And here's one of the main reasons why the market is going to be up in 2024, because of these very two reasons. Because interest rates, they plan on cutting interest rates 3 times next year. So what does that mean? So Dr. Francis, what that means is the borrowing cost is going to get cheaper, because last year when they were increasing interest rates, that means the borrowing costs got expensive. So when we look at interest rates, we look at one particular point, interest rates on a 30-year mortgage was 8%. But since November, interest rates are starting to come down as low as 6%. They're saying that, and we're going to get to this towards the end as well when we talk about real estate, all right? Real estate, they're looking at interest rates for this time next year to be around about 5%, high 5%, all right? What does that mean for the stock market? That means that it's going to be booming, because guess what? Builders now know that more people are going to want to buy a home. All right. Now, 50% of people in the US, their interest rate on a 30-year mortgage is below 5%. So once interest rates go below 5%, then you're going to have a lot of motivated people that's going to be willing to start to sell their houses. And when people start selling the houses, we saw in 2021, and the beginning of 2022, where you had a bull market. When I say a bull market, a lot of people were selling their homes. That means inflation was just going like crazy because now you have 50 people bidding on one house. And what did that do? That drove the value of houses up. All right. Now, this is very important for us when we look at this data here to see that 14% right here from November, December, the stock market was up. Now, look at the last 5 years. If you look right here, guys, the last 5 years, this right here was COVID. And I'm sharing you this data to build you up because we're getting ready to start talking about these top investments for 2024. Right here is when COVID happened, right? And COVID, you see what COVID happened? Boom, right here. It was just the S&P 500 index, this level right here, right? It was about 2,300. Right now, the S&P 500 as of today is at 4783. So that means that your investments that you bought right here during COVID, it's double. So if somebody had a $50,000 in their account right here during COVID, it's don't double. That account now is worth about $100,000 simply because, boom, you see what COVID is at right here, these levels to where we're at now. So this is very important information for us to get right here. Now, let's get into the top investments for 2024. Now, some of you guys may have heard of the Magnificent Seven. Some of you guys may have not. If you look at this right here and you log into your investments account, mainly the ones that's outside of your retirement accounts from your jobs, you're going to look and you're going to see that you have majority of these particular stocks right here, these particular companies right here inside of your portfolio. When you look at this magnificent seven right here, they're all belonging to the S&P 500 index. And because the S&P 500 is up 24%, this magnificent seven right here, they represent solely about 17% of these overall gains in the S&P 500 index, right? Because these companies right here, they call them, if you Google it, they're called the Magnificent Seven for a reason. If you go right here, here's how the stock performances of each company in the Magnificent Seven, how they've been performing this year. NVIDIA is up 238%. Meta, which is Facebook, is up 197%. Tesla up 112%. Amazon 82%. Now, and then Google, Microsoft, and Apple. Now, guys, you see Apple here out of the Magnificent Seven. It has the lowest return percentage so far this year. But don't get it twisted. 48% return is still a great year. The market is just on an amazing bull run. Now, when you look at this list here, out of the top, this Magnificent Seven, right? The two most significant companies that will have the potential for the most growth in 2024 is going to be NVIDIA and it's going to be Amazon. All right. So I want you to write that down. NVIDIA and Amazon are the ones that we're banking on for 2024 that will have the most growth out of these seven here. Now, we want to continue to keep owning all seven of these companies here. All right. It's very important for us to keep owning this because if you look at it, how Facebook impacts you, right? Facebook has billions of users. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on WhatsApp, and Facebook make money from avenues. I mean, from revenue, from ads, right? You want to continue to keep investing into Meta while you have it in your portfolio, all right? Because it's going to continue to keep making money. NVIDIA, though, should be one of your largest contributions. The reason why I say NVIDIA and Amazon, all right? Amazon, when you look at the e-commerce space is going to get greater and bigger in 2024 when you start looking at artificial intelligence, right? And the products and the different things that people will continue to buy. With Amazon, one of the biggest things with Amazon is their AWS system, right? Which is a cloud-based system that's also centered around artificial intelligence. All these companies here, right? They're investing into artificial intelligence, all right? Even Microsoft right here is a big investor into artificial intelligence. All right. So all these companies right here, we want to continue to keep investing in our portfolios in 2024 because guess what? If you look at these right here, all these companies right here, right? They're all tech companies. Mainly, they're tech. They belong in a tech index. So if you own the QQQ index in your portfolio, which you want to continue to keep owning, every one of these single companies right here belong into the QQQ, which is your top 100 technology companies. All seven of these companies, right? They belong in VOO, VOO, which is your S&P 500 index, what we own. All right. So you see right here, Magnificent Seven stocks and AI, which is artificial intelligence 2024. This is what Yahoo is banking on as well. A lot of you analysts is for 2023, the word was artificial intelligence. It's going to continue to carry over in 2024. And that's why NVIDIA will continue to carry on its steam. All right. Now, let's talk about even outside of Magnificent Seven. Most of y'all don't own this in your portfolio, but I want us to start looking and contemplating this right here, looking at this small companies index, which is called IWM. IWM is composed of 2,000 small businesses in one index. All right. Now, when we look at this IWM, and the reason why I have it on here, if you go and look at this chart right here from November to December, I want to show you guys something here, right? This particular index right here is on a amazing track history here, right? So let me just show you this here really quick. So we're going to go right up over here, and let me just show you this here. So if you look at IWM right here, all right, IWM, I have it on here, which is this right here is through investing.com, all right? And if you go and look at IWM, this is the Russell 2000 index. What we want to do is we want to look at the performance of this thing here. Now, and on this chart right here, what I was sharing over here with you guys, I showed you from November to December, but I want to share this with you really quick. Now, this is just a nerd in me when it comes to financing these numbers. IWM. If you look from November the 1st, 2023 to December, where we're at now as of today, right? And we want to focus on this change right here. It's going to show us how much this index has increased since then. I scroll down and you look at the change percentage right here, right? IWM, which is based on small companies, right? Small company index. This thing here is up 24% from November to December. All right. Now, most of the people that follow me also with the federal government. Now, most people don't, I don't say most people, you guys know I got a 9 to 5 too. I work for the federal government. And our 401k plan, which is called a thrift savings plan, it's an S fund. It follows this particular index, which is the small cap index, IWM. But you can also own IWM outside of a retirement account, right? But IWM is a stock index that you want to own going into 2024 because guess what? As I mentioned to you, what's happening is with interest rates coming down and inflation coming down, small companies are going to be able to profit off that because guess what? Borrowing cost is going to get cheaper. So that means that you should have more dollars in your pocket. So small companies are going to be able to benefit from that. So that's why you're starting to see in this particular chart right here, why IWM, which is the Russell 2000 index, has had this major growth from November to December. So IWM is a index that you want to own going into 2024. It's on a rampage. All right. So 2024, that's definitely what you want to own as well. All right. Then we go over right here and we want to also look at this company right here. We mentioned this here a few months ago into the Let's Win Financial as well. So when we think about outside of technology, another sector that I really like going into 2024 will be the healthcare sector. And you look at a company like Eli Lilly. Now, Pfizer used to be one of your main companies that was part of the healthcare sector. But Eli Lilly now has overtaken Pfizer as the top company when it comes to healthcare. Sherwin, why do you like Eli Lilly, right? And we're going to go back into that, what I was just sharing with you. Eli Lilly, they came out with something here that was so big about 2 months ago. Eli Lilly is a drug maker. They're a drug manufacturer. So when COVID was around, they had all these vaccines and things like that. But Eli Lilly is the #1 manufacturer for insulin, right? So the people that take insulin, it's the #1 manufacturer for insulin, right? Guess what, Eli Lilly, guess what else they done? Man, they came out with this one weight loss drug. I forget the name of it. I should have had that for my preparation for tonight. We'll look it up for you and get provided to you as well. But they came out with this weight loss drug, right? And what happened was we saw that particular stock just shoot up. So when I go back and I share this here with you, this here is a company that you want to own in your portfolio going into 2024. If you see here, Eli Lilly for 2023, it's up 58% this year. And when you go and look at Eli Lilly, it's a very consistent company when it comes to returns. And so, what I mean by that, right? So, let me just share this site right here with you as well. And you guys will see how Eli Lilly and its returns have been very, very consistent. All right. So right here, we want to go and look at Eli Lilly. Now, this is another website that'll use onestock1.com. And you can go right here and look at any company and their yearly returns. All right. Now we're going to look at Eli Lilly right here. What I want to show you right here, right, is Eli Lilly, right? The last time it was down was 2016. All right. Now, what was most important about Eli Lilly was this right here. In 2022, let me share this right here. This is what happened to the stock market. You remember this right here, guys, last year? Last year, right here, right? You see where the stock market was down 19% last year? Well, everything pretty much was down last year, right? But the only thing that we wanted that did not see that was down was Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly was up last year, even though the overall market, the overall stock market was down, Eli Lilly was up. All right. And so when we look at this right here, right, it's consistent. The year before that, it was up 63%. The year before that, it was up 28%. All right. It's just been a stock that's just been very, very consistent. And the thing about it is, as we continue to, they continue to make different drugs to improve and enhance this economy with people. Eli Lilly is going to continue to keep growing and growing and growing. So Eli Lilly is a stock to own going into 2024. Now you may ask the question, Sherwin, well, how much of it do I own? You don't want to have no more than 10 to 15% of Eli Lilly of your overall portfolio. All right. Now, let me just go back here as we talk about these top investments going into 2024, especially when we go back over here and we look at this Magnificent Seven here, right? So the thing about it is, though, guys, even though that these particular companies right here, they have your portfolios looking very sweet, we never want to have no more than probably about 25% of these in a portfolio. And what I mean by that, right? If you notice, if you work with me, you will have QQQ and you will have VOO as the biggest percentages in your overall portfolio. Then we would go and add these companies right here as lower percentages. They're doing exceptionally well, but the one thing what we have to be mindful of is this right here. We may face some volatility. All right. We may face some volatility. Sherwin, what is volatility? Where it might be a month or two, especially I would probably predict maybe late January, early February. Well, guys, you see, this is where the stock market started at in 2023. And here's where it's at here. It's up 24.5%. How much more room does it have to really run? It's going to continue to keep going up in 2024, but there might be some months where we have some type of pullback. All right. And I'm glad where last year went, where we saw it going down, because we have to look at it with the stock market. It just don't go straight all the way up. It's gonna go up, down, up, down. But over time, it goes up over the long term. All right. Now let me say this here. All right. When you have, and I want you to write this down, all right? Because I promise I tell you the guys this right here. I studied this here, but I ain't no different from nobody else. I graduated high school with a 2.8 GPA. I just been a student of this game. I've been committed to this process of studying this information. And the thing what separate me as a coach into this and I teach you guys, I've been doing this since 2009. Some of you guys been doing this since you've been with me since 2020. All right. And you've been seeing the good stuff, right? but you have to be consistent and you have to be disciplined. So a year like last year do not stop you from investing. All right. A year like last year is where you make the most of your money, because if we would took advantage of the opportunity last year and you see the market's up 24% this year, it's even up more because the market was down if you look at if you bought last year. All right. Now, let me say this, along with you working, and when you put your money to work for you, those are two deadly combinations. But majority of the people, not you, but before you joined Let's Win Financial, majority of the money that you made was the fact that you traded your time for every dollar that you made. But now that you're here with Let's Win Financial, you have a different mindset because you understand that you have to hire different employees to work for you in order to create that financial legacy that you want for you and your family. But see, you can't work a 9 to 5 and build wealth. A 9 to 5 primarily is just going to be really just sustaining you to pay your bills. But when you start hiring employees, when I say hiring employees, when you start opening up a Roth IRA account and you start funding that and you start maxing that out every single year, when you start opening up a brokerage account, which is a non-retirement account, and you start putting money in that, that's employee number 2. When you open up another account like a health savings account, you saving money towards your health care, where you can also invest money into that and help you grow, right? Money that I'm saving for my health care, it's up 24% this year. You know why it's up 24%? Because the money that I'm saving for my healthcare, it's invested in the S&P 500 index. And the money that I don't use in my healthcare, my health savings account this year, right, which is it's going to end Saturday, which is the year, that money, it's not use it or lose it. It's going to keep rolling over and it's going to continue to keep compounding and compounding. So that's going to be my third employee that's working for me. All right. Your fourth employee will be your equity that you got in your house. Your equity that you got in your house, is it unemployed or is it employed? I don't like for my money to be sitting. I like for that equity that I have in any one of my properties, I like to put it to work, because guess what? That's another employee working for you. But guess what? What we do not have working for us is those employees that take away from us. What is those employees that take away from us? Your credit cards, right? Your emotional, reckless spending is your employee that take away from you. And when you got an employee that's lazy, you know they're not adding no productivity to the job. And it's the same way with your finances. If we don't get a control of these debts, right, then it's hard for us to, when you guys hear me say Sherwin talking about maxing out a Roth IRA. Many of you guys maxing out a Roth IRA if you ain't and don't even know it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you go and look at the interest that you paying on your credit card every single month and you add that up for the year, let's say for instance you paying $200 a month just alone in interest, right? That's $2,400. If you paying $300 a month just alone in interest, that's $3,600. If you paying $400 a month just alone in interest, and I'm telling you guys, I see this, so I know it, right? That's $4,800 that you could be putting towards monies that could be working for you. All right. But because of our reckless spending, we have it working against us. So what we want to do is we want to change that mindset, right? We want to have that mindset to where we have these employees working for us. All right. Because you may think that you go into your job and you just have your job, but you are the CEO of yourself, which is your business. Hiring these employees and these different investments. So what I'm talking about tonight is to help you. All right. And one man that's really smart about this here is doing that right now. All right. So let's talk about this really quick. And that man is President Trump. Now that leads to our next conversation here, is this presidential election for 2024. Guys, I'll be honest with you. The front runner on the on the GOP is going to probably be Trump. The front runner on the Democrat side gonna probably be Biden. All right. That's probably gonna be, that's how it's gonna shape. More than likely, what's gonna happen is I think President Biden is a lame duck president. He in a one term because our economy and where it was at. Now, it don't really matter who the president is, to be honest with you, but I do want to share here with you, right, some historical information. There have been 23 elections since the S&P 500 index, dating back right here to 1928. All right. Now, if you look at it here, right, 19 of the 23 years have provided positive stock performances. So what I mean by that, you go right here and you look at this S&P 500 index, right? And you look at the year 2016. That was not the last election, the year before that. But in 2016 is when President Trump was elected. The stock market was up 12%. When President Obama got elected the second year of his term, the stock market was up 16%. Matter of fact, when President Biden first got elected right here in 2020, so we go back right here and look at 2020, the stock market was up 18%. So you starting to see a trend right here, guys. So if you start to see people at your job talking about, oh, president's election, and if Biden get it again, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down. Trump get it, it's gonna go up, go down, right? The history repeats itself. The reason why these election years, right, are generally up 19 of the 23% of the time, or 83%. 19 out of the last 23 elections, or 83%, while the stock market has been up on election year, it's because these presidential candidates, right? They're coming in and they're talking about their economic policies, right? And they're talking about these policies in a positive way. And sometimes the markets, right, they're hearing their sentiment and they go up. So that's another reason why we feel that the stock market will be up again strong in 2024. It's up 24% this year, probably close up 25% for overall, because we have one more day. Tomorrow is the last day for 2024 when it comes to Wall Street. And my prediction for 2024, the S&P 500, the stock market, is going to go up anywhere from 15 to another 20% for 2024. So what does that mean? That means even in your retirement accounts, it should be up 15%. You should be able to look at your retirement accounts now. Your retirement accounts should be up about 20 plus percent. If it ain't, you need to call me ASAP. If you don't know how to go and look at that on your 401k, you need to call me ASAP. All right. Now, for some of my retirees that's getting ready to retire, your portfolios may be a little bit conservative, so it might not be at the 20%. But for my younger folks, your portfolio, your retirement account should be up 20% plus. All right. Now, let's get here a little further here. So that's what I want to share here with you guys when it came to the presidential election. That's another reason. You look at this here, guys. 19 of the last 23 elections, that's 83% of the time, the stock market is generally up during an election year. Guys, I want you to do this right here. Do me a favor here. Take a screenshot of it with your phone, because you know what? You're going to sound smart now. When somebody at your office and they talk about, oh, the stock market is us up this year and it's going to be down next year, you're going to be able to show them this right here and say, you know what? It's an election year. And generally, 19 out of the last 23 elections, the stock market has been up 83% of the time. That's some good information for you guys to know, for you to understand. You understand that? All right. Hopefully you got the screenshot. We'll go to the next screen here. All right. So let's talk about this here, and this will be the last thing, and we'll take some questions here, right? Real estate sentiment, right? Where will housing be in 2024? All right. The Federal Reserve said that they plan on cutting interest rates at least 3 times in 2024. Now, if they do that, we're going to see interest rates on the 30 year come down. So you're going to see your home values. And how you guys are going to see your home values? I generally go to like Zillow. You can go to Zillow. You put your address in and track your progress of your house and see where it's at over time, right? Guys, I bought my house in 2000. We bought our primary house in 2014. We bought our primary house for $455,000, right? And here is the reason why home ownership is very important when it comes to generational wealth. Because now that same house for $455,000, right? The valuation on it, it could be easily sold for 1.1 now when we add the valuation to the pool. That's double, guys. And the thing about it, when we talk about generational wealth, You buy home ownership, and then home ownership, you stay in the house, and now you continue to pass that down to your kids, right? And so when they pass it down and it's a paid off house, my house will be, and what we did was we refinanced into a 15-year. That was one of the things that Leslie said, hey, look, if we're gonna take some money out of equities of our homes and buy more homes, we're gonna have to work together. So she said we're gonna have to do a 15 years. So I agreed to the 15 year. I'm glad that we did it. To be honest with you, our mortgage is significantly higher. But in 10 more years, my mortgage will be paid off, and hopefully my home will be a lot worth more. But this is important because now I'm gonna be watching. I watched the home price of my home from 2014 to go to where it's at now. You should be doing the same thing with your house, all right? And seeing it come up. And by me understanding the real estate and the values of coin going to continue to go up, that's more fuel to the fire to say, you know what? I want to start playing Monopoly. So if some of you guys want to get into the real estate game and start owning investment properties, you'll be able to do that, especially if you got equity into your home. I don't believe in using your own money to go and buy another property. I don't believe in it because I believe with real estate, once you own property, you can leverage it. All right. There's two type of ways where you refinance. There's a cash out refinance. A cash out refinance changes the whole loan terms of your mortgage. You don't want to do that, especially if you got a low interest rate. You do not do a cash out refinance. The only way that it made sense to do a cash out refinance was like during COVID when interest rates was low. So we went from a 3.75% interest rate all the way down to a 2% interest rate. So we refinanced the whole loan terms. So we did a 15-year and we took our interest rate from 3.7 to 2%. So we saved a bunch of money on interest. And guess what? We was able to pull out a nice chunk of money to be able to go buy more assets. All right. That's very important, guys. When what you're buying, you want to make sure you keep hiring employees to work for you. Because guess what? The more employees that work for you, that's the key. The more employees that work for you, that's hard working for you, guess what? That's the quickest way that you're going to build wealth. And it's not about building wealth because guess what? We don't want wealth. We don't want the money. We want the time. We don't want to be on the 9 to 5 clock. We want to be on vacation on a Wednesday instead of going on a Friday through a Monday. But we want to be on vacation from Tuesday through Thursday. We want to be at the beach from Tuesday through Thursday if we want to, versus being on somebody else's dime. Let me say this and I'll be done. There's a big difference between somebody that's rich and somebody that's wealthy. You understand that? Rich is someone that makes a lot of money but they work for it a lot of time. Somebody that's wealthy, they have time and they have money. Because the thing about what separates the wealthy from the rich is the wealthy person have assets working for them where they don't necessarily have to trade time for it. So what happens is if you look at a lot of real estate investors, right? I mean, these people that's owning multiple homes and multiple doors, right? They are wealthy because they have built a real estate portfolio to where they have monthly cash flow coming in, massive amounts, and at the same time, what we saw from 20 to 2022, they had a massive buildup in equity in those homes. So now it's almost like they can almost go from like a $5 million portfolio to a $10 million portfolio because the equity that they have going into these homes, and not to mention the cash flow that they have bringing in on a monthly basis, and not to mention with all this money that they're making, they have the tax deductions. Real estate is one of the biggest ways to give you a tax advantage to be able to say, on paper, this is what I make, right? I don't make a lot of money on paper, but this is how much money I made. Because now you can do all these different tax deductions with real estate. And one of them is depreciation. You can depreciate your investment property over 27 and a half years. All right. So we'll get more into that. But I want to take any questions that anybody have had based off what I shared tonight on the top investments for 2024. So as a summary, the Magnificent Seven will still continue to keep investing in those, but we see NVIDIA, And we see Amazon out of the Magnificent Seven, out of the top two of those as the best performing for 2024. We're looking at the small cap index and IWM with small cap companies, right? It's up 24% from November to today. And that trend is going to continue to be owned in 2024. We like Eli Lilly because of the health sector and where it's at, and simply because Eli Lilly, in their continued progress to continue to make drugs or vaccines to continue to help improve the U.S. economy. All right. So we'll take some questions now. You guys can unmute it. I believe I have some. Actually, let me just address some direct questions that I have here, and I want you guys to unmute here too. But let me ask a couple questions that went directly to me. It says, "Do you recommend higher contribution to these individually than an indexes like a QQQ?" So we kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, but to address that person saying the Magnificent Seven stocks that I was sharing, do you recommend higher allocations, which would mean higher percentages? There should be no more than 15 to 20% in each one of those, but your portfolio should be composed of about 50 to 60% of QQQ and VOO. The reason why I say that, because Magnificent Seven, also those individual companies also belong in the QQQ index, which is 100 companies. So Magnificent Seven is part of the QQQ index. VOO, which is your top 500 companies, S&P 500, those Magnificent Seven, they belong in that. Well, Sherwin, why own Magnificent Seven outside of that separately, right? Because you have more exposure to those companies now versus a fractional in the QQQ and the VOO. So 50 to 6% of VOO and QQQ in the portfolios, and then own the Magnificent Seven based off those percentages outside of that 60%. All right. Somebody, Erline, thank you for that. So Erline shared with me the weight loss drug that Eli Lilly just got approved. Now, here's the thing. When U.S. Congress or U.S. government approve it, it's big. So it's called, I don't even know if I can pronounce this right, but it's ZEPBOUNF, Zephabone. I don't know how to pronounce that. But that was the company here. That's the weight loss that Eli Lilly got approved for. All right. All right. So any other questions here as far as anything that I shared here
It's,
tonight? We'll go ahead and take it.
it's sure it's me, Rodney. How you doing?
Hey, Rodney, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Happy New Year. That's coming up to everyone. So I do have a question for you. I did hear you mention that QQQ and VOO needs to be at least 60%
Mhm.
of your portfolio. And the other supposed to be will actually take up the rest of the 40%. But if the QQQ and VOO right now, I'm just hypothetically speaking, is only taking up 41% of my portfolio, um, which then maybe this is probably going to be one-on-one on which
Yeah.
one should I decrease
Mhm.
to increase QQQ and VOO. So that's probably a one-on-one thing though.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Rodney, yeah, we can do that on a one-on-one, but guys, let me just also advocate, right? Another employee that could work for you is an Acorns account. And Rodney is a big advocate. Well, he started an Acorns account, and that's where you can invest your spare change. Rodney and I have to do a webinar because Rodney, can you share some of your experiences with the Acorns account and how what it's been doing for you?
Yeah, so kind of like more of, Sherwin had a couple calls where he did say really if you do have like a Chase Sapphire card where you got to use the points to your benefit to use that. So what I did with the Acorn account, I actually attached my Sapphire card to my Acorn account. So it's working basically two times for me. I use that card to pay bills. I gather points just for free trips or for free traveling and so on. And then also to the change that's utilizing will also be invested in Acorn. So it's been working since I've started. I've been seeing an increase in that. And also, too, let's just say that I do have minor memberships with different things. that really is kind of like more of, is it a need or a want? If it was a want, I cut it off, and then I take those monthly bills that I've been paying, and I'm actually distributing it to my Acorn account too as well. So if it's an account, like just say $30 for fitness center, or $20 for how do I say like a streaming account, which I really don't need because I don't really watch a lot of TV. I'll just deactivate that streaming account. That's $20, and I'll just start investing in the Acorn. And so I'm basically using everything towards that, just basically change.
Yeah.
And it's really, really working out for me double time too. So I really like it. And also the benefit about that too, if you invite friends or invite your family members too as well, Acorn will actually pay you money to invest. They'll give you the money to invest to as well, which is yours if you get other family members to invest in it. I think it's a great tool. Me personally, I think it's a great tool for the young kids. I think that will help them out a lot to really know about money, especially they're just dealing with change.
Right.
I think a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And Dad, if you don't mind, I kind of want to put you on the spot. Like, I'm just gonna ask you if you can just unmute your mic, because I'll be honest with you, probably one of the biggest out on this live here persons that really have just benefited from Acorns. I visited with my dad probably, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years ago when it was doing a hurricane. And me and my dad have been talking investments for a long time. And so I just put him on this Acorns here. Dad, would you mind sharing your account balance that you have now? Acorns, guys, is an account where you invest your spare change. Instead of having that coin jar at your house and putting change in there, you can put your roundup. So whatever you spending your money, like what Rodney was saying with his Sapphire card, you're getting points. Plus, he getting the roundups, right? And now, every $5 has rounded up. Now it's being invested. But Dad, how much do you have in your Acorns account just from the change that you've been using?
Right at 24,000.
Guys, I want y'all to hear that. How much again, Dad?
24,000.
That's from spare change, guys. $24,000. Dad, you want to share any sentiments or just from your experience with Acorns and with the group and your experience?
Yeah, well, I just kind of pretty much simplified just with my spare change. And what I do is instead of rounding it off to the nearest dollar, I do that 3 times. So instead of 75 cents, 25-cent rounded off one time, I do 3 times 25. So you can do it up to 10 times or 5 or whatever, but I do 3. And also, every time that card is swiped, every time you pay a bill from that card, they take the difference and they put it in your Acorn account. One of the things that I don't take the advantage of is the promotion that they have. And I don't know how often it is. I think it's about every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yes.
But as the young man stated, if you get friends or family to join, they had a promotion on where if you got 4 people to join, they would give you $1,100.
Yes.
So, but every time you get a person to join, they give you $5, and that person have the opportunity to get others to join, and they be a part of the promotion. But I found that one of the easiest ways is to save money, and really, you don't seem to be intentional about it. Anytime you swipe that card, that money goes into your account.
Yeah, yeah. That's so good, man. Thank you, Dad, for sharing that. I know you've been a big advocate for that. And so thank you for sharing that. Want to take any questions here on any of this information I shared tonight on 2024? Guys, it's going to be a big year. We're in a big end rally for 2023. And you guys have been seeing what your portfolio has been doing, but any questions based on information I've shared tonight? Any questions? Oh, go ahead, Rick. I see your hand is up.
So you're saying, for example, if we had like a more conservative approach and like just investing in the S&P 500, Would you say to maybe this is a good time to come in, kind of diversify a little bit more and applying some to maybe like those Nvidia and uh, those 7 stocks you mentioned that were primed for this year to grow?
Yeah, yeah. So like Rick, and that's a very great question, like on your end, right? So I tell people, I say, hey, look, if you're just in the S&P 500, we just shared this here with another gentleman the other day in his Roth IRA. He just straight had the S&P 500. And I showed him, I said, okay, look, if we would have had the S&P 500, maybe with a little extra into the NVIDIA in your portfolio, here's the difference of what your portfolio would maybe have grown into. We like the S&P 500 simply because, whenever there's down markets, your portfolio don't take such of a big hit as the individual companies. So I say it should be anywhere from 50% to 60% of the indexes like the S&P 500. But if like a young man like you, Rick, yeah, diversifying into some of these individual companies as well, because these are companies that you're using every single day and they impact on how we operate in this world, not in just into the US, into this world. And so if you look at their returns, they're like 12,000% is like what NVIDIA is doing. That's like we gotta own NVIDIA, right? Even though I know it's an S&P 500, but we gotta own it separate, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Um, any other questions? Any other questions? Now, here's what I want you guys to do, though. I want you guys to go and I want you to look at your 401ks. I'm gonna just tell you like this right here, guys. I looked at my 401k, I think it was Wednesday. And just in my 401k, it was up $50,000 this year. Guys, this is what I mean. Your investment should work harder than you, if not harder. Because guess what? If the market goes up another 15 to 20%, it's going to go up another 40 to $50,000 next year. So now that's what I mean. You got that employee working for you. Then you got these other investment accounts that we're starting. Hey guys, it's just a gift that keeps on giving. So what we did learn is we can have money in our savings account, right? I would say, guys, if you got a very secure job, I would have at least maybe 3 months worth of expenses. If you got more than 3 months worth of expenses in a savings account, you actually losing money because this stock market, when we look at these returns, right, on an average basis, they're giving more than what we'll be getting in our savings account. We want our dollars to be working harder for us. So that's when you guys come to me and we deal on these one-on-ones. This is general broad information, but that's why I say if you really want your dollars to stretch and work more for you, we have to put our dollars to work. And so that's where we're going to lead to in our book club, which is the Rich Dad Poor Dad. Let me just remind you, if you have not got that book yet, go and get it. I don't care if you read the book. We read it again. I read that book every other year. And what it does is it motivates me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this tomorrow because I'm just going to be transparent with you guys, right? That book inspires me because that book it goes from an employer mindset to an investor mindset. And so at 39, I hit that double common club. 2 years later, my net worth, and this is something I want you guys to do, right? I'm going to post this tomorrow. Your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So your assets, you start adding up what your home value is worth, what you got in your checking account, what you got in your savings account, what you got in your 401k account, what you got in your IRA account, right? All your assets, what your car is worth. You add up all those assets, then you minus it and you start adding up all your liabilities. How much is on credit card one? How much is on credit card two? How much is on credit card three? How much is my student loans? How much I owe my house? How much I owe my car? So you add all that up. And so you take your assets minus your liabilities, it will give you your net worth. So if you're trying to figure out how you're doing financially on a report card, your net worth will give you that. All right. So I just looked at my net worth just the other day and it said 1.3, right? The reason why I'm sharing this here with you guys because I am your coach. And the reason how you can scale up if somebody else normal is you want that to be your next level. My next level for me is multi, if you understand that what I'm saying, right? Multi. So scaling up for me is I don't necessarily focus on increasing the income at my job. That's not my focus. My focus is increasing my assets because if I increase my assets, that's something that I'm going to be able to continue to keep growing whether I lose my job or not, because those assets are going to be there. And at the same time, I will be able to transfer my assets to my kids. I can't transfer this increase in my job to my kids. Now, I want you to increase your income on your job. That's good because everybody should focus on that, but that should not be your primary focus. Your primary focus is actually increasing your assets and decreasing your liabilities, which is increasing your overall net worth. Again, it's not about the money, it's about the time. Because the higher my net worth can be, the more that I don't necessarily have to be on the clock going to a job. See, our mindset as a people of color, we're the biggest consumers in America, but in the wrong way. Consuming as in liabilities, whereas the other culture is the biggest consuming in assets, in real estate, stocks, businesses, land. But all we stuck on is getting a job, and we focus on two things: getting a job, paying our bills, and we focusing on being debt free and having a high credit score. We focusing on being debt free and a high credit score. You want a high credit score because now you can go out there and borrow and put more stuff on a credit card because they're saying that, look, you good at borrowing money. You want to be debt free so your credit score can be high. But you guys have heard me say this before, that broke man, the homeless man at the light that's saying, hey, can I get $1? He debt free too. He ain't got no money. The one thing what he don't have is assets. And assets is the thing that will separate you from anybody else when you build up assets. So guys, this is why if you round me, we talking assets. We either talking stocks, index funds, business, or real estate. If you round me, if you know me. And that's what you have to be around. You have to inventory your circle in 2024 because that's going to be another investment for you. If you continue to be around those people that's not going to elevate you and take you to the next level, you can't scale up. You can't pivot in 2024. You got to be around, you got to be continue to be in these circles. You got to continue to keep these one-on-ones with me. You got to continue to keep being on the Let's Win Financial YouTube. You got to continue to keep being on these lives right about here, right? To continue to scale up and continue to move up and to continue to elevate. Because when you elevate, your kids is going to be your bottom, right? Your kids, they're going to be able to start off where you left off. Instead of your kids starting at zero, they're going to be able to start off where you left off. Imagine that when you leave this earth, your kids will be able to start off where you left off, right? When I die, my kids will be able to inherit my house and they will be able to say, you know what, the tax assessment from when I bought it to what it's worth now, it's going to reset when I die because this is something called a step up in basis. Because dad focused on the assets, because dad focused on teaching these boys financial literacy. Proud of you guys. You guys getting it. Your testimonies, I'm proud of you. I'm going to share them tomorrow. These testimonies that you guys will share with me, you guys are doing well. You're paying off debt. You're maxing out Roth IRAs. You contributing to Roth IRAs. And the guys, the one thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to stop. I want you to keep going. Because you know what? Your legacy. What's your legacy? When you at the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, what's my legacy? It's not all about the money. I look at it from a biblical view. I look at it and say, you know what, Lord, if you can bless my pockets, I want to be able to bless other people. And I want to do that with my finances. I want to do that with my gifts, and I want to do that with my talents. The Lord has gave me a gift of stewardship over finances, to be able to pass this information and teach it to a community of people. And I use these examples of showing you guys the different examples. I'll log into my account. I'll show you guys. I'll post stuff on social media, not to brag, but to show you a 39-year-old millionaire that, just doing more than just working a job, but I'm out here hustling and getting it. Because you know what? I want every one of you, your last name to be an asset. I don't want your last name to be no liability. I want you to be an asset. And I want it to be the fact that you was the one that was a risk taker that changed the generation in your family, going from generational curses to generational abundance. It takes you to do that. It takes one risk taker to do that. Because if you continue to stay in the same comfortable setting, you're gonna be just like that other family member. They're gonna be comfortable. And when you be comfortable, ain't no growth in comfort. Ain't no growth in comfort. And the most silent killer to you growing and building wealth is you going and getting in debt. The more and more that you get in debt, it's going to be the silent killer to stop you from going where God has, where he wants you to go. So that's why your mindset has to be, at the end of the day, going into 2024, is continue to educate, continue to be in this particular circle, and continue to focus on growth, not just in finances. Because guess what, guys? I'm still on that 10,000 steps per day challenge. If you want to roll with me, add me on the text message and let's go through it together, because I'm still on the 10,000 steps per day. And guess what? We trying to grow that in 2024, because guess what? We focus on 10 steps per day and 10 minutes per day on abs. Who in there here with me? If we can focus on doing 10,000 steps per day and focus on 10 minutes on ab work, right? I promise you, by the time that you get these to December the 31st of 2024, you will see a significant difference in your body. This year, I lost about 30 pounds simply because I changed the way of my eating habits, right? And I started doing a lot of walking. But you know what? A journey to 1,000 miles starts with the first step. We just got to focus on growth, continue to focus on growing, and we can do it. All right. All right, guys, this has been good. A little bit over an hour. Didn't want to go this long, but I want you guys to finish out 2023 strong. Enjoy tomorrow, enjoy Saturday, and let's continue, man. 2024, Let's Win Financial is the year of pivot. Get your Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, because we're getting ready to start the first discussion on that. Listed out the discussions on that. But man, you guys be well, be blessed. And as always, let's continue to win.